Chief executive of Allianz, one of the world's largest insurance firms and asset managers, says the number one risk this year is the growing division between political leaders and the public. Oliver Bate joined me here, and of course he was also on the board.
This year, the increasing detachment of those that run things, political leaders, and what everyday people that actually work feel in the workplace in their everyday life.
How can you say that when half the world's democracies, populations of democracies, are going to vote this year? If you're right, that doesn't bode well.
No, and you can see it in my home country, you see the Netherlands, you see it in France. They're very unhappy, the voters, very unhappy.
But we've had that before, and that's as a result. So we end up with Brexit, you end up with the first Trump administration.
Yes.
You end up with Macron originally when he got elected in France. So that's not new. What's different?
What's different is, I think that would you have expected that 20% of the Germans would consider voting far right because they're so unhappy with all the other existing parties? I would have not thought this to be possible 10 years ago.
So this is really a backlash to elites, of which you and I would be classed as part of it.
Yeah.
Ignoring the issues of most people.
Yeah, particularly those that carry most of the burden now, i.e. those that work or those that are in retirement and have worked all their life and they have no access to affordable health care. Housing costs are going up, food is going up, and then the leaders tell them, don't worry, inflation is down, it's under control. Don't worry about Mr. Putin, we had him always under control. Don't worry about climate change, we have it under control, and we don't.
So what do you want them to do about it?
What I want them to do about it? Well, no, as a citizens I have a certain view on what things, but the key thing is stop talking, do some practical things that work. So in Germany it would be great if the trains would be on time, if the schools would really open. And so there would be a couple of things that I would suggest we focus on.
Why do you think that we don't have that? Because politicians know what needs to be done.
The issue is priority setting on the one hand, and on the other thing, if priorities change as they have changed with COVID, with the wars, you need to know that you can spend the euro once and not 3 times, that there are limits to debt capacity, and you need to tell your electorates something that they don't like to hear the first time, but they understand it has to. You have to take money from some place and put it in another place. And it's very hard to explain to a population that your trains are not on time, the schools are not working, you can't find teachers, but we're trying to rescue the world. Yeah, we're trying to rescue Syria, we're trying to rescue Africa, we're trying to rescue climate. Everything has to be rescued except for the people that do work every day.
Joe Biden really hit that head on in terms of Ukraine, that if we don't do what we are doing in Ukraine, then eventually it will end up on our doorstep in a different way.
And I totally agree. But then you say...
You want it both ways.
But no. But if you say I'm spending 40 billion plus on Ukraine, then you need to say I need to take those 40 billions from somewhere else. I cannot spend the money twice.
All right. And that means taking it from where? That means taking it from domestic programs, and you're even in a worse situation.
Yeah, but for example, we have lots of subsidies in Europe, in Germany for sectors don't know it. We still, for example, subsidize energy consumption in certain areas where it makes no sense. But it's very hard for politicians. I do not envy them and I have a lot of respect for what they do. But at some point you need to tell people the truth. You cannot do everything at the same time.